everybody, welcome to today's meeting. Thank God it's Friday. Any apologies for absence?
I've received apologies for absence from Councillor Moore, Councillor Brumwald and Councillor O'Neill.
Okay, any further apologies? No, okay. Any interest to declare on the agenda?
Chair, I've received two declarations of interest from Councillor Davis and Councillor Bowden, both in relation to item 5, and they're both personal and prejudicial.
Okay, so we'll take appropriate action at that time. Any others? Yeah, see? No.
Item, final item on the agenda was due to the number of members we've got, the LEP memberships all abstain.
Okay, that's okay. Well, we can accept that. Fine. Minutes of the last meeting held on the 9th and the 16th. Can we agree those minutes, please?
Please.
Okay, move on to the area-based review and also the implementation of that and recommendations. The report is basically clear on page 9, and can I propose that or who wants to make comments on it?
Well, not a comment on the report. I think we've been invited as the combined authority chair to nominate a chair for the strategic planning and oversight group. I think I would nominate Kate Willard to do that job.
Okay, yeah, second as well. Okay, so that we accept the report and make that nomination of people onto that. So with that then, the recommendations are pretty clear. The group on a number of occasions and discussed and debated. So can we agree then to those recommendations as set out in the report then? Okay. Okay, thank you. Then item 5 is the apprenticeship grant for employers update and the acceptance of the additional funding. And again, they've offered 660,000 to support the creation of the apprenticeships within small and medium enterprises within the city region. Again, the report 67 to 72 on your agenda is pretty explicit. I don't think anybody has anything other than to welcome the funding. So can we agree that, please? Okay, I'm going to get you back in. Thank you. Okay, item 6, we have a report from John Fogarty to take us through this report, which is around the total charges for next year. John, do you want to take us through the report and some of the recommendations?
Yes, certainly. Yesterday the Mersey Travel Committee considered a more detailed report around the schedule of tunnel tolls for next year and recommends to the CA that the current schedule of tunnel tolls remains unchanged for next year. The committee considered that there are relatively low levels of inflation in play at the moment, and also the need to allow the changes in fast tag to become established. Last year it was quite pleasing that more than 50% of journeys use the fast tag, and I think that shows the impact of the changes that were made last year to that. That's all I propose to say. Obviously, we'll answer any questions on that.
Okay, so it's a freeze building on last year when we reduced the cost for the fast tag. It's been frozen this year. Clearly, we know the pressures on Mersey Travel, we know the pressures on ourselves in terms of the authorities and what we're doing with the authority in terms of trying to claw back some of precepts and stuff. So it's something that I think we've got to do. So any questions on it? Any comments? I think it's positive given the climate we're in and what we're doing and what we use the tunnel tolls for and the subsidy. So can we agree those recommendations, please?
Please.
Okay, item 7 is the budget setting report for the CA, and it's for 2017-18. John, do you want to talk us through this and set out the proposed budget sorts of options for us and things, yeah? Do you want to take us through that?
Certainly, yeah. This is obviously the budget for next year for the combined authority. The main purpose of it set the transport levy for 17-18, which is payable by districts, as you know. As you'll see, the proposal here reduces the transport levy by a further 10 million to 95 million next year, which means in the last 3 years that's a total reduction of 30 million. In addition, to note and approve the arrangements for Halton, which is subject to a differential levy, which recognises that Halton will continue to provide its own transport services on behalf of the combined authority within its own boundaries. The CA provides funding to Mersey Travel for the core transport functions from the transport levy and also from the tunnel tolls, which just approved, and other sources. Mersey Travel yesterday considered its own budget and approved a budget within these revised financial limits. In terms of the combined authority's non-transport activities, the budget recognises the capacity needed to fulfil the responsibilities associated with the devolution agenda through an increase in running costs next year. This will include significant unavoidable costs associated with the election, which will be funded from the resources that the government's devolved at no additional cost to the local taxpayer. The recommendations in 2.1 are quite detailed, and there is more detail within the report than I have spoken to, but again, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on that.
Okay, well, I mean, members are aware it's building on the meetings that we had about reduction in the levy because of the financial difficulties that we face as each individual local authority. So I think it's pretty clear. Can I just say thank you to the officers, John and yourself, for providing the reports, and ask that we agree the recommendations as set out on page 83 and 84.
Agreed.
Okay, can we agree that? Right, thank you then. Item 8 is just a technical thing. We're all aware of Barry's illness, Barry Dunlop's illness over the last few months, and so there's an administrative requirement really for us to approve his absence from the combined authority, which can I just quickly move that we do. Can we agree that? Okay, thank you. Okay, if we are then moving on to Code of Corporate Governance, and it's the revised code. It is pretty straightforward, but John, do you want to highlight any of the sort of major changes that we see there?
It's really just in response to CIPFA's changes in the Code of Corporate Governance, and I think it's been received by considered by the audit committee previously. It's just from the combined authority to approve it.
And I think technically we have to approve that. So can we approve that? Okay, thank you. Then item 10 is the appointment of local external auditors. And again, John, do you want to just basically summarise that for us? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's just the new arrangements that you'll be familiar with from elsewhere. The combined authority, and this was again considered by the audit committee, is seeking to opt into the sector-led arrangements, which I think are common to most of the districts around here, for the provision of external audit. It's locally appointed from 1819 rather than the previous arrangements with the audit commission, which obviously isn't here anymore, appoints. So again, it's just the recommendation should be quite clear around whether the combined authority does indeed want to opt into the sector-led approach. Well,
I think it's probably, I think the recommendations I agree with. I think it's something that we've got to do. It's probably the most efficient and cheapest anyway, so it is the option we usually prefer. But because the district audits has been done away with, it's something that we've got to do anyway. So in that regard, I think that we agree with that. So can we agree the way that the report sets out the options for us and agree the recommendations? Yeah?
Agreed.
All right, thank you. Okay, we move on then to item 11, which is the minutes of the Mersey Travel meeting held on the 1st and the 16th of December. And also for us to agree in our role as the CA is to approve and confirm those minutes. So can we do that, please?
Agreed.
Okay, the next item is one that some parts of it we can actually accept some of this, but I'm not proposing to do that, providing we actually don't talk project specific in relation to any schemes which, you know, in terms of commercial sensitivity and stuff around that. But basically it demonstrates the progress that continues to be made following the devolution agreement. People just often talk about the gain share and the package of gain share of 30 million, but they forget often that we also negotiated £458 million in the single investment fund. And this is basically what we've done with the first tranche. So it just sets out the opportunities and some great news stories in here, not just on jobs, but on education, on infrastructure, and support for business and business growth with potentially an extra 3,000 jobs. Some of it we've seen. So I'll ask the Chief Executive of the to take us through this presentation, if you like, and then we'll have an opportunity to ask questions on this, okay? So do you want to do that presentation? Sorry. Forgive me.
Sorry, Chair. So used to going to the other side of the stage for these, but Trudy's good enough to push the button smaller, that's all right. So the first slide here in terms of background recaps broadly context and what you've just been describing, which is that you agreed to put together a pot of funding from various sources that would allow us to look at things more strategically and in a more integrated fashion to be able to determine the kind of projects through bidding and decision making that would make the most contribution, the highest impact and the biggest difference to what we're trying to achieve in terms of growing the economy and so on in and around the city region. So we launched the prospectus for the Strategic Investment Fund in September, as you know. We put together the first stage of the pot, which is £150 million investment fund for the period 2016-17 to 2018-19. And in the prospectus, we saw bids for spend and delivery in that first 3-year programme. So one of the gate criteria was that projects have to start in that 3-year period rather than things that might come forward in years 4 or 5. And obviously we'll be running future rounds of this just to make the obvious comment from that point of view. We then gave bidders the opportunity to submit bids by the 9th of December, and since then there's a group of people that have been working, I have to say, incredibly hard, including over Christmas, to be able to assess and weigh up the kind of quality of the applications that came forward. We've got 78 applications. The table sets out them in terms of the individual themes, as we call them, and sets out in the strategic investment framework, number of applications and the value of the asks against that. So you can see there that 78 applications together for about 280 million, 279 million of the SIF funding. So it was obviously in excess of the amount of money we've got available in the investment fund in its first phase. All of the projects, I should emphasise this, Chair, have been independently appraised and scored. And independently appraised means by people not connected to the combined authority or to the local authorities that are part of this. So we're very keen to make sure that we've got expert advice and expert appraisal and independent expert advice and appraisal of the bids to avoid any conflicts or any perceptions of any conflicts around that. And then the next slide sets out the prioritisation process. You'll be glad I'm not going to go through that in any detail. It's set out in the report, but it's just to demonstrate that there's a very clear rationale to the kind of the outcome of the process that we put in place in order to move from 78 bids to those that are before you to recommend it to be moved forward. Through the next one, please. The investment panel, which is the independent people that were responsible for assessing the independent appraisals. So we had appraisals undertaken by commissioned individuals and agencies on our behalf. Their recommendations and submissions then came to an independent panel, separate from the appraisers, separate from ourselves, and they then worked their way through that set of criteria that I described very briefly on the previous slide, and they brought forward the recommendations that are set out on this slide. I'll just pick up one point on this slide, Chair, so it's actually quite technical in nature. What we've been trying to do here is to work out of all of those submissions that were made, those things that could be funded from other sources, in this case the RDF or Chrysalis as alternative sources, but also available through the pot to us rather than the mainstream local growth fund or other sources of funding that are in the centre of the SIF, as it were. And that slide just kind of describes that. And then the investment package, as it's brought forward for you today, is the result of that process and the activities on that investment panel. And I just take the opportunity, Chair, to thank the panel because they've done this in their spare time and at no cost to the system or the authorities. And the package summary then, again set out in the report, but that slide sums it up in terms of the kind of, we're not mentioning individual projects here because of the exact nature of what's set out in the additional report here. So I'm just going to talk over this particular issue. So the themes on the left-hand side, projects brought forward for you to recommend to move forward to the next stage, and the separation between the SIF projects and those that are going to be hopefully funded from the RDF or Chrysalis. And then just draw your attention to all things being equal, obviously, if these projects deliver over the next period of time in the way that it's set out in their appraisals, then we could be benefiting as a city region from about 13,500 additional job outcomes in the city region going forward. And I've just got a couple of slides, Chair, on each of the themes, just to demonstrate and exemplify some individual examples of, and they are only examples of projects that are brought before you for consideration. So now projects approved or recommended for approval, invited to the next stage. They include a £15 million flexible business growth fund, a high growth business programme, and support for the International Festival for Business for 2018. The funding for that has been put into the Strategic Investment Fund, so it's almost natural actually that it will emerge through the side of that process for funding. These are all part of the business growth and sector development theme, I should say. You'll also know, because the CA is specifically group funding for £5 million worth of funding for the £35 million Austin Rail project in Halton, for instance. And the bottom bullet point there in that theme, total investment value of £158 million with the potential to create around 3,000 jobs of that figure that I described before by 2021. Similar kind of story on research, development and innovation, Chair. 3 projects being prioritised. These are entirely consistent with the science and innovation audit that has been awarded to us by government before Christmas. So digital computing, infection control, materials chemistry. Their total investment value of 37 million, and again the potential to create about 500 jobs in that theme, in that scale defined. Same kind of thing again for regeneration, development and culture. I again used examples here, but there's 23 projects that have been prioritised. They include Shakespeare North Playhouse, which is a unique opportunity obviously for Knowsley in this particular case. The cruise liner terminal, another unique opportunity obviously for the river and Liverpool in this case. The cultural programme, which is looking to gain some funding contributions alongside us from national government for 2018, 10 years anniversary of the capital of culture, but also the anniversary of the ending of the First World War, because there's obviously 100 years to commemorate from that point of view. And then 2 specific projects, one Chancery Gate in Sefton, and the second Maritime Knowledge Hub in Wirral. In aggregate, the 23 projects will generate about 1.5 million square foot of new floor space, over £400 million worth of new investment, and in excess of 4,500 jobs in regeneration, development and culture, which has got to be welcomed in terms of what we're trying to achieve in the city region. And then transport and infrastructure, highlighting 4 key transport initiatives there, Chair. The A580 Haydock improvements, Parkside Link Road, both of those in St Helens, of course. City Centre connectivity phase 2, which in turn links into and around the area for the cruise line terminal. And then Shakespeare North Road interchange clearly dovetails to the Shakespeare North Playhouse project I referenced a minute ago. And then there's a specific we're recommending to you in terms of feasibility support for future-proofing Junction 23 and the M6 also in St Helens. And in aggregate there about £50 million of potential investment. At the moment we haven't got a job figure for that because you appreciate the transport things are direct intervention, the jobs will be a secondary intervention. And then next to final theme slide around housing, picking up 3 particular schemes. The first one, which Halsney Park is making national news just before Christmas, or was it over Christmas? I think it was over Christmas, I think, wasn't it? Around the garden village for Halsney Park in Knowsley, project around Mosnook again in St Helens, and also Knowsley Lane in Knowsley. And each of these particular 3 that I've highlighted also will deliver a business space as well as housing accommodation, so hitting 2 particular strategic objectives in one for each of those projects. And then finally, in terms of themes, shared skills, you'll note that currently it's the strategic outline business case appraisal stage for 25 applications around 3 themes: supporting technical skills, improving the learning environment, and supporting diversity and life chances as subject topic areas for bidding processes. Total funding asked there is about £34 million. So next steps, Chair, subject to your consideration in a second. We're recommending that the investment package from today be developed and submitted to next stage business cases as soon as possible. These will clearly go at the pace that the individual projects can do, and these will be brought forward to you in the fullness of time for full-up decision making and progress reports and so on. And subject to your approval, projects requesting less than £5 million support will be allowed and encouraged to submit a conflated outline business case and full business case. That's just technical for trying to minimise the workload and the paperwork that's those level of value projects will need to do. So just touched on the skills theme. Currently it's strategic outline business case appraisal stage. They've been continued in that way. So I genuinely think we've made a huge amount of progress, Chair, on this particular issue. There's a number of people that have done outstanding amounts of work, both those employed in the local authorities, some working with me across the city region as a whole, and the individual appraisers that I mentioned, and also members of the investment panel who have brought together a very, very short notice and at their time, as I say, free of cost in order to help you to kind of make the right decisions around this kind of issue. And you'll be pleased to know actually that intelligence from elsewhere in the country is that we have reached this stage faster than anybody else, from pretty much a standing start over the autumn period. So that's all I was going to say. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, and I think it's right to emphasise the way that's been put in by officers in the local authorities and team executives, the left, Mark, the team at the left, well, in terms of supporting this. Just a couple of comments from me. It's good to see the complementary nature of it in terms of being able to produce that cocktail of funding with Sif and Chris listening on the I think that's the right thing to do. I think the message needs to be made absolutely clear that devolution is already happening. We've got devolution. This is the first tranche of the £458 million that we negotiated in our devolution deal, and it's the first tranche of that. Now, it's great to see, those figures of around about 5,000 jobs being created with this tranche of spending, and the fact that it's also, if we do it the way we are and continue the way that we're going, that we're actually using that 158 million spent today in the first tranche to leave it in around about 500 million of private sector funding, which is exactly the thing that we need to do. So, it's good news, some good schemes and some good projects there that are going to improve not only economic prospects for the city, bringing in new investments, but support and improving infrastructure, the skills agenda, and also supporting business and business growth, which is exactly what we want to see happen within the city region. So, you know, I think the recommendations are pretty straightforward. And as I said, the only thing that I would like us to recognise is the contribution made not just by our own officers, but individuals who volunteered the time on this as well. So, any comments or questions from the panel, the members? Andy? Yeah.
Just to echo your enthusiasm, thanks as well as the officers that have contributed to it. I challenge the officers in Knowsley, particularly Mike and Dale Milburn, to have a pipeline of various projects, and obviously they deliver for Knowsley. But they've also delivered for all of Merseyside. Some of the lessons that we did have been passed through the other officers. So again, I'd like to thank particularly my officers, but all officers in general. And if we can deliver this in the first year, what are we going to deliver in the future?
Yeah, no pressure there. Any other comments? I just did a slip. If you look at the slide and go back the slide in terms of the 5,000 jobs I was talking about, are not the final total, but this investment is talking about 13,000 jobs when we get things up and running, which is, as I said, good news. And I think it's right to stress that it is, as you rightly say, Andy, only the first chance. Any other comments from leaders? Any comments? No? Okay, so shall we then agree the recommendations as set out in page 147, please?
Please.
Okay, that's fine then. And then can I just, the next item, we're moving to part 2, but this is going to have to be considered in the absence of the press and public due to the information that it contains. So could I ask members of the press and public to leave the chamber, please, so that we can discuss the next item.